Good morning and welcome to That's Racing. And without the gelding again, he's still enjoying the beautiful barley. And hopefully he'll be back next week with me and we can join up again to discuss racing. But with me on my lonesome today, I'll try and make the best of the races at Caulfield, where there's a 10 race card. The first at 12:15 p.m, the last at 5:35 p.m. The feature race, race 8, the Platinum Showdown, an open race for 2-year-olds over 1,200 metres worth $1 million. Might say that there's a Group 2 race, race 6, the Peter Young Stakes, which has only got a purse of $500,000. I would have thought that a Group 2 race would pay more than an open race, but not today at Caulfield. Track's a good 4. I'd suggest that you keep watching that during the day. It's going to be a warm day. It may well be upgraded to a good 3. The rail's out 6 metres at Caulfield for today's races. The Gelding's tips have come to me via text, so I'll let you know those. His first selection's in race 3, the Donovan and Co. Mystic Journey Open, a 3-year-old and above race for fillies and mares over 1,100 metres. In this race, he likes horse number 2, Miss Aria, coming out of barrier 3. It's had 19 starts for 5 wins and 7 placings, so a 26% win rate, 63% place rate. It's a Zoo Star mare that ran second to Samangu at this track 3 weeks ago. It meets 4.5 kilos better off today. Damien Lane's in the saddle. He's in career form, 14% win rate for his career, but 20% over his last 50. So that's something really to take note of. Danny O'Brien's the trainer, and his career rate's 14%. So he's doing very well as well. It's come in overnight. Last night it was showing $3.20 to win. This morning $3.10. So punters are liking it. So race 3, horse number 2, Miss Aria, is Gelding's first selection. His second selection is in the next race. Race 4, the Barristock Handicap, a benchmark 74 for 3-year-old horses and above over 1,200 metres. And in this race, he likes horse number 2, Tsatsamaki, coming out of barrier 7. It's had 3 wins from 3 starts, so 100% win and place rating. You can't go past that. The only thing I would say is it's making its Australian debut. It's a 6-year-old gelding, and it's coming off a 4-year break. Its last race was at Newmarket in England in 2021. So that's the only thing I'd take note of. But Gelding's been following the trial form. It's been doing very well. Daniel Stackhouse in the saddle and trained by the Hayes brothers, who are in career form, 14% over their career, but 16% over their last 50. Currently showing the very juicy odds of $5.50 and $2. So get on that one. So Gelding's 2 selections for Caulfield this Saturday are horse 2, Miss Aria in race 3, and race 4, horse 2, Tsatsamaki. Now let's turn to my selections today. I'm going a little bit earlier than Gelding for my first selection in race 2, the Avenel Equine Stakes, an open race for 3-year-old and above fillies and mares over 1,400 metres. Like in this race, horse number 1, Regal Vow, coming out of barrier 2, 16 starts for 6 wins and 6 placings, so a 38% win rate, 75% place rate. Last start winner in a listed race, the Lord Stakes at Caulfield Heath Track on Boxing Day, and I think Gelding and I were there that day and saw the win. It's won at this track over the distance in November last year. It had a good jump out, so I like this one today. It's currently showing $2.80 and $1.60. Craig Williams in the saddle, a very experienced jockey, and a trainer that we don't mention very often on That's Racing, Charlotte Littleford, who's in career form, 10% over her career, but 16% over the last 50. And she trains out of the base at Coffs Harbour, but also has a base at Pakenham and Cranbourne. My second selection's in race 9, a little bit later on the program, the Yulong Vobis Gold Sprint, an open race for 3-year-old and above over 1,200 metres. I like in this one, horse number 10, Bossy Nick. I like that name. Coming out of barrier 2, it's had 19 starts for 4 wins and 6 placings, so a 21% win rate, 53% place rate. It's in a weaker class today and has run at Group 3 level in the Balmain Stakes earlier this year. It's won over the distance and a very fast horse indeed. Currently showing the good odds of $3.10 and $1.40. Bo Merton's in the saddle. He's in career form, 11% for his career, but 12% over his last 50. And Tony and Calvin McAvoy training, they're in great form too. 16% over their career, but 20% over the last 50. So I've got a horse, jockey, and trainers that are in form, and that's what I always look for. So my two today, race 2, horse 1, Regal Vow, and race 9, horse 10, Bossy Nick. Now let's turn to the Professor's Parlay, the very successful Professor's Parlay. We're 2 from 2 over the last 2 weeks, and I like those odds. Last week we had Broadsiding, which ran second, and we'd parlayed that into the Storm to beat the Eels, into Liverpool to beat Southampton. So we're currently 5 from 11 over the year, so we've got the parlay rate back to a 45% rating. I think that's pretty good figures. Gelding says it's always good if you can get over 30%, so we're up at 45, so we're not doing too badly. This week, our agreed bet of the day is race 4, horse 2, Tsatsamaki, for all the reasons I mentioned before, and we're going to parlay that with the NRL's back, so we're going to go with the NRL this week. The Broncos to beat the Raiders. The Broncos number 3 on the table. They scored 50 points on the last outing. They put 50 points up against the Roosters and beat them by 36, so that's not a bad effort. The Roosters were playing at home too. Selwyn Cobbo had a hat-trick of tries. Now, the Raiders, yes, they beat the Warriors, and they beat them quite handily, and they beat them in New Zealand. But Paul Delegan's tipped the Warriors to finish on the bottom of the ladder, and so I can't take much from the Raiders' form. Today will be a real test against the Broncos. The bookies don't like them as well. The line's 13.5, so at $1.21, I think the Broncos show very good value to beat the Raiders, and we'll parlay that into another NRL game. Tomorrow's game, the Bulldogs, my Bulldogs, to beat the Titans. The Dogs beat St George, who are going to be a good team, and I think Paul Delegan's tipped to make the final 8. The Titans are off a bye and haven't played yet, so that's going to be a bit of a disadvantage, especially playing the Bulldogs at home at Belmore, where they love to play. The line is 8.5 points, so over a converted try, the difference. So at $1.41, I think the Bulldogs are also good value. So Professor's Parlay this week is race 4, horse 2 at Caulfield, Tsatsamaki, into the Broncos to beat the Raiders, into the Bulldogs to beat the Titans. Now, if you've a regular viewer of That's Racing, I'd like you to perhaps subscribe. You can hit the subscribe button, which is just below the screen here, and also why not like the program as well? Also, always helps us. So until next Saturday on That's Racing, it's good luck and good punting.